Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Isabel. I'm glad so many of you are joining us today. We are coming to you live from our head office in Stuttgart. And of course, I'm joined by my colleague Edgar. It's really great to have you here today. And we have prepared an exciting topic for you. ELO eRecords, more efficiency in data management. Before we start, I have a little more information for you. You will be muted during the webinar, but are welcome to ask your questions in the question box on the top right corner at any time. After the webinar, we will of course take the time to answer any questions you may have, so start writing your questions in the question box now. And of course, you will receive the training materials after the webinar. And now the time has come. I'm looking forward to today's presentation and I welcome Edgar. I hand over to you now.
Thank you and welcome from my side as well. Today we'll talk about our business solution, ELO eRecords, and how you can improve your data management with it. So, which topics will we cover today? First of all, we'll have a look on what is records management, what you can do with records management, and what's the improvement when you use records management, not only in your company, but in other sectors as well. Then we'll have a look on what you need for e-records management. What's the difference to records management and e-records management we'll cover as well. Then we'll have a look on e-records management with the ELO ECM suite, which we will see in a live demo how it works, e-records management with the ELO ECM suite. And then in the end, we will have the highlights and the questions and answers. And if you have some questions during the webinar, just ask them in your questions box and we will answer them in the end. So let's have a look on what is records management. So records management, there is a short description for it. What is records management? Records management is the systematic management of records throughout the entire life cycle, which sounds great for me. But what does it mean in detail? So let's have a look. So a record, what is a record? A record is a set of, let's say, documents, emails, meetings, notes, some checklists, maybe contracts in it, and maybe pictures. So different document types on a specific topic which you want to manage. That's a record. But there's a little bit more because otherwise it would just be a folder where you put in some documents and that's it. That's not a record. That's just a folder with documents in it. So the difference to a folder with documents in it and the record is that the records are filed with a so-called filing plan. The filing plan gives you a structure where you then can file your records. The structure is built like this. You have a main group, which is maybe central administration, executive board, operational management, and so on. There can be more than three, of course, but I didn't have the place to show more main groups. So you have the main group, and every main group has some groups in it. Central administration, for example, has group public relations, financial management, HR management, resource management, health and safety, or information management. Executive board has different groups in it because it's a different topic, it's a different unit in the company who has to work with this main group. And operational management has other groups in it as well. And then you have some activities in those groups. For example, financial management, budgeting, accounting, banking, taxes, internal audit, procurement, purchasing, investment in the central administration, in the different groups, or strategic planning, senior management, policy development, annual review, or external relations in the executive board. So you have main groups, you have groups, and you have activities which you can do in there, which sounds a little bit well, complicated, but in fact, it's just a structure where you have, in my example, a main group, in this case, central administration. And in this main group, you have another structure which is called the groups. So central administration, general, company structure, organization, HR, then financial benefits, policies, organization, internal communication, meeting minutes, and reports, all legal affairs and compliance. So those are the groups. And then you have some child groups in there as well. For example, HRMS or HR development planning, HRMS in general. So that's a so-called filing plan. What do I need the filing plan for? You have a consistency in the folder structures and metadata. The users know where to find the records. So when it comes to a record or for an internal audit, you know where to find it, what's the main group, what's the child group for it, and you know where to file the record as well. Then you have legal defensibility, you have automation potential, or you have retention control in here as well. So that's why you use a filing plan. You have a plan and you know where to file your records, in which main group or child group you have to file your records. So that's why you use a filing plan. The filing plan can be developed by yourself, or when you're in public administration, then normally you already have a filing plan which can be mapped as well. Beside the filing plan, you have a so-called record life cycle. Every record has a life cycle. So you create the record for, let's say, an internal audit, or you create a record when you're in the public administration for a building permit, for example. That's a record. And this has to be created at one point. Then you use the record, so you file documents in there, you work with the record, and you can do some things. You can use it, and during using the record is open. Then you can retain it, so to preserve it. You can appraise it, and you can dispose it automatically. So you can define for every record what's the retention period, and after the retention period, something happens with it. So that's the record life cycle, from creation to using, retaining, appraising, until disposal. So just some examples for records management in public administration. You have, for example, a building permit application record. So you want to build a house, and then you fill in the building permit application, and this is then a record with which will be worked, and then you get the building permit or you don't get it. Or a funding application record, for example, or an internal review file as well. So when you want to review your, let's say, filing plan, for example, or the internal processes, then you can use records management for this as well. But we have records management in private administration as well. For example, a product development file or an internal audit file or a facility inspection file can be, for this, you can use records management as well. And you can create for example, a case file for an internal audit for this, and then you can use it, and you can save it, and then you can do other things with it, so with retention periods and so on. So records management in private administration makes absolutely sense in some topics, for example, product development, internal audits, or facility inspections. So what's the difference between records management and e-records management? So records management is the systematic management of records throughout the entire lifecycle. This we heard earlier. E-records management is the systematic management of digital records throughout the entire lifecycle. So you have to think of records management. That's something which you do, maybe, I don't know if someone does it in paper today, but which you did in paper some years ago. Now you can use e-records management to manage the records digitally throughout the entire life cycle. So what you need for e-records management? So for e-records management, best thing to do is you should use an enterprise content management like the ELO ECM suite, which is software for enterprise content management. Because enterprise content management gives you the ability to capture documents and information, to store them in a central repository, to search and retrieve the documents, streamline and automate processes, simplify collaboration. It's a secure filing location, and you can do automated tasks and processing. So this is enterprise content management functionality. You can set permissions as well. You have a full text search and so on. Those are the basic functions of an enterprise content management. But those basic functions can be used for records management as well if you combine the ELO ECM suite with the business solution ELO eRecords, which is a solution for e-records management with the ELO ECM suite. So records management with ELO eRecords works like this. It's a business solution. You can use the ELO ECM suite, or you can use it in combination with the ELO ECM suite, and then you can start with records management. You can do case processing, and you can do contact management with it as well. You have a filing plan, or you can import an existing filing plan. You can create your own filing plan, and every filing plan has, as we saw earlier, a main group. Then we have the groups. So main group is central administration, organization, publications, events, or PR initiatives down there, collaboration and cooperation, and the rest I can't read. Then we have the groups in there. So for example, publications, internal audit, and then we have a child group in there. No, we don't have a child group in this case. In this case, we have the files in there. But you can have child groups as well, which we will see a little bit later. You can create different file types for different groups, or for different main groups, or child groups, which can be pre-filled like this. When we create an audit file, then it's pre-filled with the organizational unit and the owners and the retention period, and comes with a defined substructure where you can then file documents in there or other information in a predefined substructure. And it comes with a form where you can enter the information for the dedicated file. And then we have the document feed, which gives you an overview of what has happened to this file. So we can see here on June 6th, finance and organization created a new folder. Then the administrator created the file. Daniel Cooper started a directive, and Daniel Cooper finished the directive as well. So you can you get an overview what has happened with my file just with the document feed, where you can see who has done what with this record or file. And then we have some functions up here as well. So we can close the file, we can open the file, we can delete the file, we can set restriction notes, and we can do some more things like starting a signature, starting a directive, or create a Word document with file information, which is then reused in the document. So that's ELO eRecord. That's just a brief overview, but I'll show you now in the live demo how it works and what you can do with it. So what we see here is our presentation environment, and we have opened the ELO web client already. And here we have a tile for records management. So with the tiles, you can jump to different functions of the ELO ECM suite, like searching for documents or working with tasks. And in this case, we have a tile for records management. And when we click on it, then we are in our filing plan. And what we see in our filing plan is we have three main groups, 1, 2, 3. There can, of course, be more than three main groups. And every main group has a dedicated substructure. Those are the groups in there. When we have a look on the information for the main group, that's the metadata information, then we can see that it has a short name, central administration, filing date, a filing plan reference, that's number 1, central administration. It's main group number 1. It's not a group or not a child group in there, and we don't have keywords in there as well because it's a main group. We don't have groups and child groups in there. So that's the filing plan information for this main group. And then we have um, um, another information, or we have information on the files. So the organizational unit for this main group is management. Users groups with read writes is management as well. Rights is management as well. So only management can access the main group for central administration. And then we have a unit for retention period as well. Retention period can be 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You can use other retention periods as well. You can even leave it blank, and then there is no retention period in there as well. And then we have some management information, who is permitted to create some files in here. That's management. And you can even set the permitted file types for a main group or a group or a child group as well, so that the users only can, for example, create an audit file in this specific main group. No, not main group, in this specific group or child group. So that's the information for the main group, central administration. And when we go a little bit deeper, when we'll have a look on, for example, legal affairs and compliance, that's a group. And then we have 2 child groups in here. And let's have a look at the retention policies. And when we have a look on this metadata, then we get a little bit more information. We have a short name as well. We have a filing date, which I think was today, yes. Then we have the filing plan reference 182. The name is retention policies. The main group is 1. The group is 18. And the child group itself is 182. So we don't have to fill something in there. If there would be a child group above our retention policies child group, then we would have to fill it in there. When we have a look on the files, it's the same as with the main group, organizational unit, users groups with read and write rights is our management, because only management should be able to access this group. In this case, we don't have a unit for retention period or a retention period set as well. So everything which is every record which is filed in there doesn't have a retention period. And then we have the management. The permitted file types for this is just case file. So when we create a new file in here, then we can't choose between the different file types. It's just case files. Which brings me to the file types. When we create a file in here, then we can either choose the file type, or in this case, we only can pick the case file. But how do we create a new file? Well, I would suggest we'll take new, and then we'll click on New File. If we wouldn't have the permission to create a new file here, then we would get an information that we are not allowed to create a file here. Luckily, I have the permissions for this. So, and as I said, we are only allowed to use a case file in here. The filing plan reference is 182 because we selected the correct position for this. The filing plan name is retention period policies. For the file name, we want to create the file for our policy update initiative, retention records, records retention policy 2025. Filing location we don't need. Organization and unit and owner is pre-filled already because we are the only ones who are allowed to create some things here. We could now set a retention period or a disposal date as well, and an evaluation note, but I leave it blank because we don't need it in this case. And then we can give it some more information. For this, I have to open my cheat sheet. Just a second. Because I've prepared a description for this, or a note for this. What's this for? So the legal team is leading an initiative to update the organization's records retention policy to meet new regulatory requirements and improve clarity for departments. This case file documents the internal process, legal review, and communication strategy. So we filled out everything which we need for our new case file. We've given it a file name. We left the organizational unit and the owner as it was, didn't set some retention period or disposal date, and then we added some information. So now we create the file, and then the file is automatically created. So what you can see here is the document feed, which gives me the information for the file, the overview for this file, for example. Well, there hasn't happened many things with this, we just created it. But when we look at another file, so for example, this file, the misaddressed document, then we get a little bit more information because the folder was created on the 2nd of June. And the file was created at the 2nd of June. Daniel Cooper closed the file. The administrator opened it. And then Daniel Cooper moved the file. So you can see what happened to your file. And when we now want to file, for example, an initial report for this, then we can do it with the eRecords solution as well. So when we want to file a document, then we can create a new document in here. And let's say the document was my cheat sheet, is the regulatory change overview 2025. And then a new folder is created in here, and then we have to file the document in this folder. So the document I have prepared already, but I did forget to save it. No, not OneDrive. So prepared the document. And then we can file it in here with a short name, a document reference, and the file reference as well. And then we click OK, and then the document is filed in here. So that's how you create a new file. But you can work with other files as well, as long as you have the permissions for this. For example, we have here some example files for internal operational audits. And The green one, so the different colors for the files, I didn't explain yet. The green means that the file is still open and you can work with the file. We could close the file just by clicking on the close file up here, or we could reopen it. But it's not just changing the color. It has some more effects on this, because it is a workflow which is started so that we can tell who has done what with the file. And then the status is changed. But we can do some other things as well. For example, we can start a directive in here. So let's select, I think there is an initial report in here as well. And then we can start the directive with this document. And the directive can be, we want to archive this document, or we want to create a file letter. So let's click archive. And then we send it to Charlotte Bennett, and then we can start the directive. Which directives are available for starting? Well, this can be defined, this can be configured, depends on what you need and what you want to do with it. We could even start a signature for the record, or we can create a Word document, which then creates a document depending on the templates which you have, with information on the file as well. So we have some functions in here. We could even reclassify the file. So when we find out, oh no, it's in the wrong location in the filing plan, then we can reclassify the file, and then it's brought to the correct child group, main group, whatever what you need can be done with this. Or we can request a change on the filing plan as well. So normally you don't change a filing plan just by, oh, we need a new folder in here. You have to request a change. For example, I want to change the filing plan, or I've found out that the filing plan has an error, or I want to delete the file, change a file, or create a file, or something. And then the request goes to a dedicated position or department, and then the request will be finished by, well, the thing what you requested. So what we can do as well, I have to change my user for this, because I sent the directive to Charlotte Bennett, which uses another client, which uses our ELO rich client and has access to the records as well. And I started that directive for her, which can be found in her task section. I want to archive the initial report. That's the initial report for this document. And I want to finish this step. So I say, okay, let's archive this one, and then the document gets archived. So Daniel Cooper will get a notification that Charlotte Bennett has finished the archiving of the initial report, and we can see it in the document as well. Charlotte Bennett finished the directive archive. So records management with ELO. We have a filing plan with main groups, with child groups, with files in here. We can work with those files. The files can have different state. We can create different templates for your files, because we not only have case files as we saw here. We have other file templates available as well, or you can create your own, which depends on which files you want to work with. We can work with the files and we can tell who has done what with the file. We can set retention periods. We can set permissions for this, who can do what with the files. For example, we could set permissions for um, internal audit files that only the users who work with the audit files can create them, but accessing can be done by everyone because it may be interesting for others as well. So, what are the highlights of the ELO eRecords solution? So, ELO eRecords makes it possible to combine the ECM functionality, which the ELO ECM suite brings to you, with capturing documents, storing in the central repository, streamline and automate processes, search and retrieve documents, manage documents and information, and collaborate with each other with the document feed. So those are ECM functionalities, are combined with the business solution ELO eRecords, with the eRecords functions, which you need unified filing structure with a filing plan. You have a record classification. You can set retention policies, or you have retention policies. You are legal and compliance ready, and you can make audit trails and access logs. So that's records management on the left side. On the right side, we have the ECM functionality, and they two work very good together. So ELO eRecords is a smart choice for not only for the public sector, but for private businesses as well, because it's real-time access to data. You can make decisions based on the latest information. You have transparent information. It's secure and compliant with legal regulations and end-to-end documentation for all accesses and updates. You can automate routines, so to reduce manual processing. It's perfectly connected because you can integrate it with existing systems. And it's unlimited collaboration with centralized access to information across departments. So we have a reference for this as well. I can't spell the name, but it's yeah, that's the company. I can't speak Hungarian, sorry. They unified the document management systems of different divisions, and make effective process management, and use ELO eRecords for working with their records, with the files. And they have a case lifecycle management, and they have a complete overview of the business processes as well. But that's not the only reference which we have. So if you have some more questions on this topic, you can ask them right now. I just have to change to my questions box. No questions so far. So, well, then we're finished for today. And I can say thank you. Thank you for your attention.
Yes, from my side as well, thank you very much, Edgar, for your great presentation and your live demo. At the end of this webinar, we have prepared a short survey for you. Please take a few minutes of your time and give us your feedback on today's webinar. Let us know if you like today's webinar and which webinar topics you would like to see next. We are currently planning new webinars, so stay tuned for more news in the future. If you would like to register for more webinars, please visit our website elo.com. Please keep in mind you can register up to 1 hour before the webinar starts. Thank you very much for attending our webinar today. I hope to welcome you at our next webinar as well. And until then, have a great day. Goodbye.